Major League Baseball is back in a few short hours, and we have a lot to catch up on here on the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Welcome to the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I'm Clay Link of RotoWire.com, here with FSWA Hall of Famer Todd Zola. Always a pleasure, Todd. I mentioned games resuming. Seems like maybe some weather uncertainty around the country, but our first full slate tentatively back after the All-Star break. How are you doing today on this Friday?
I was doing all right until you said there's weather issue. I haven't checked yet. We got it's out daily tonight. So, you know what? I'm not going to say I would have checked because I've forgotten to check before. But there's a pretty good chance I would have checked. No, it's a bummer if there's rain, but assuming rain and not anything else. But doing well. I didn't have the same break that those that went to Vegas had, but had a nice little few days off and catching up with some other stuff. It was kind of nice. It is good to be back. I made a comment that you know what, it's kind of cool this year that all the teams are back on Friday and they start the same day. Then last night I'm like, you know what? Can I take that back? I want baseball tonight. So anyway.
Well, yeah, kind of selfishly, I was hoping to watch a game last night, but I mentioned those weather concerns. Just a lot of red on the RotoWire lineups page. I don't know which of these are under serious threats, but it looks like 65% chance of rain in Baltimore, a chance of rain in Philly tonight, chance of rain in Queens as well. So just keep an eye out.
Yeah, some of these
closer to first pitch.
Yeah, some of these are just summertime humidity, thunderstorm at any time. Although, so this is the the weather report page on our site is really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it carries over, like you said, to the lineup page.
Yeah, if you're on our lineups page, you'll see like the different flagged games with chances of inclement weather. But then if you go to lineups, hover over lineups and go to weather report, there's even more in depth. Our weather guy Peter Jizik does incredible work. You can see his little blurbs for each game. It looks like the one he has several as possible, but a likely delay is in Kansas City tonight. So I know you were thinking about Glass now. That could maybe throw a wrinkle in that tonight, but still a very, very appealing.
That's for rival. Yeah.
I'll
have to look into that.
Absolutely. Definitely just wanted to plug our weather report page because that's kind of a sneaky little source for you guys to use because our weather guy really does great work every single day. But yeah, it was great going to Vegas. I got to meet a ton of great people from the GDC side that I'd never met before.
Oh, yeah.
If you know me, I've been sober from alcohol for about 3 years now, Todd. So it was a little bit of a different experience for me. I've never been to Vegas before sober from alcohol. But I had my fun and made it to the Mob Museum. I'm a big Sopranos guy. The Mob Museum was fantastic. The actual wall from the 1924 St. Valentine's Day Massacre, just unbelievable. But let's talk some baseball. We got baseball back, and I saw the A's promoting two of their top prospects together, Tyler Soderstrom and Zack Gelof. So kind of an interesting addition to the pool here. Both players, especially Soderstrom in a two-catcher league. But Gelof, it was the PCL, did have a 929 OPS, 12 homers, and 20 bags in only 69 games with AAA Las Vegas. So this guy, I imagine, will be a hot pickup this weekend.
But you said it. It's not only is it the PCL, it's Vegas. Speaking of Vegas,
yes,
it's Vegas in the PCL. You didn't go to a game out there, did you?
No, I didn't get to a game.
Yeah, one year I did with Brent Hershey. I think it was for USA Today when Masters Ball was affiliated with USA Today. We went out for a conference and Brent and I, let's go to a game. So we didn't anyway. Nice park. We had Eric and I had James on tomorrow's show for MLB, Sirius XM MLB Network Radio. And James thinks that Gelof and Soderstrom are both going to play. Maybe not every day, but pretty much full time. Where they hit in the order, we're not sure. We have Gelof leading off in our. Are the orders out yet? No, they're not out yet.
That's just the expected order.
Yeah, we had. I wanted to make sure. So we have Gelof in the expected order. Soderstrom hitting 4th or 5th, which is a good spot for fantasy. So yeah, interested in seeing what happens, and there's still some bids, and these are AL players, and I've got an AL only team where I've got the hammer, so I'm gonna have to decide if these are better than the guys coming over to deadline and an extra couple of weeks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I guess the real question is, do you have the FAAB dollars left to go out and get either of these guys?
In AL labor, I do.
Yeah, I don't really have in my NFBC. I don't think I have the budget to go out and acquire either of those guys. But Gelof, he only went for 8 in the RotoWire Stake League last night. I thought that was a pretty nice pickup by Jake Latarsky. I spent my last 10 last week on Trevor's story. There are $0 bids allowed here, but yes, for the rest of the season, I will be leaning on $0 bids. I guess I'm just really banking on 2 good months out of Trevor's story when he comes back.
He was my 19th or 20th pick in all of the underdog. I say all. I think I did 5, 6, 7, somewhere in that range. Second half underdog. I said underdog. Underdog. I meant underdog. I'm mixing up rival and underdog. I meant underdog this time. Sorry, sponsors. Yeah, in my second half underdog best balls, I picked up Story and Sale like 19th and 20th in almost every draft. Almost being 5, 6, or 7 of them. Yeah.
Nice, man.
Anyway, we'll see.
Well, let's talk about some other pickups from the RotoWire Stake League last night. Jose Quintana picked up.
Activated, yeah.
Yeah, activated from the injured list, activated from the 60-day injured list.
Yeah.
So he took that full 30 days on rehab, and look, arms are scarce, so I get it. Let me check our probable starters grid. Is he starting, I assume, pretty soon?
Yeah, I remember going over his name or figuring out how many innings he was going to pitch, looking at his log in the minors, and I mean, I don't see any restrictions. Like you said, he took the full 30 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have him penciled in for July 19th, so next Wednesday against the White Sox. That would make some sense, especially because they stretched him out. They kept him down for a long time. Then, David Peterson still on the roster. Maybe they move him to long relief, or maybe they send him down. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, to sort of follow through, I know a lot to talk about today. Quintana didn't really do all that well in the minors. So he went 4 1/3, but he gave up 5 runs in his last outing. So, I mean, it's a risk. I understand stashing him, but whether one uses him next week or not right off the bat is somewhat risky.
Yes, absolutely. Other pickups from last night. Dane Myers, outfielder for the Miami Marlins, hit a home run just before the All-Star break, his first career homer. So that was in the Sunday before the break. And then, he had it was just a 6 big league games. So 6 games, he's got 9 hits.
Yeah.
Good for a 409 average. Not a player, I know a lot about, not a buzzy prospect or anything. What could you tell us about Dane Myers?
I had to look him up just like you, and nothing on my memory. And to me, it was more about trying to figure out, is he going to continue to play? What is Miami going to do? Who is hurt? Who are they looking to replace? And I don't know. I mean, you've still got Jesus Sanchez, and you still got Brian De La Cruz. So I'm not sure. I think it was more of a Jazz Chisholm hedge, right? With Chisholm being out. So I think he plays until Chisholm's back. And after that, Miami goes with a hot hand. So we'll see. Yeah,
it's a unique cat here. We heard, I just saw a comment in the chat from our buddy Uncle Ted, who's a friend of the show, that Dane Myers was a converted pitcher, so 27 years old, a big guy, 6'2", 205. We'll see what he can do. Yeah, it's he's had as many as 25 homers at Double-A, so we'll see what he can do.
Because Abasael Garcia is.
Yeah,
I mean, I look for more notes than we have on him, and when we don't have a note, it usually means there isn't one. I couldn't find anything. He's just kind of in limbo right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Steven Matz picked up the Cardinals are going to be keeping him in the rotation, but they've said that,
why?
I think it was John Mozeliak who came out and said, you know, we're trading people and we're trading our veterans, so it seems like we're on the verge of a full-on tear down there in St. Louis.
We'll see.
We'll see. You wouldn't start Matz against the Nats this weekend, though, even though it is the Nationals. No,
I wouldn't start Matz against my Little League team. No, I mean that's kind of mean. I'm not impressed with Steven Matz. I would not.
Yeah. All played that game before. Yeah, I couldn't see it. Daniel Bard, a $4 pickup. You know, we were kind of amongst us in the company wondering what we should do with the Rockies closer situation because Justin Lawrence hasn't really had one in a while. Bard came back and got one, but was it a one-off? It's just, you know, it's the Rockies. They're just abysmal. Do you want it to do anything with either of these guys, or you hands off on Bard and Lawrence?
No, I'm hands off on Colorado in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so no, not interested.
Yeah, that's. I guess that's just speaks to the desperation of people needing saves. How about this? I somehow missed this. All-star Michael Lorenzen was available.
Yeah,
he's only got 3 wins, but man, I could have used him. $3 ad there. Alex Call for $1. He's been up and down, but he is back up and is up to 8 steals now. So they're probably a team they're probably like the only absolute locked in seller.
Nationals,
yeah, and I wouldn't think Call's probably going to get traded. So maybe they clear room for Call to play. He's got 5 homers and 8 bags. Joey Wendell, I know a former favorite of yours. He goes for $1. You give Joey Wendell another chance?
If you need a guy to plug in your lineup, and it's just a fairly deep league, he's eligible in a lot of places. Sure. I mean, I'd like to be able to, always consider putting him in my lineup and finding somebody just a little better, but I think he has to be in consideration.
Yeah, for sure. Ben Lively, $1 pickup. Joel Piamps, Patrick Wisdom. These guys are all from here on a $0 ad. Wisdom, Jose Caballero, Alec Marsh, Shintaro Fujinami. He's been actually pitching well in relief. Then Nick Lodolo, other potential pickups. Christopher Sanchez got some mention in the chat, and he has been pitching okay. That game tonight is under the threat of rain, so we'll just have to wait and see there. But and kind of a tough start after the break against the underperforming Padres, was still a tough matchup. Been pitching really well though so far, Christopher Sanchez.
Yeah, actually that was my paragraph about him in ESPN today. Was there's not a lot of streamers available for today. He is one. But it is against the Padres. It's one of those things where, by the numbers, the Padres aren't a very good offense. But are you comfortable streaming against the Padres? One of those things.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Kenta Maeda, Corey Julks, another guy who on CBS leagues have been pitching.
Maeda was available?
Wow. Well, that's I'm looking now. We've gone through the FAAB pickup, so I'm looking at the roster trends. On CBS.
Okay.
Most added, he's on there. Corey Julks, Matt Manning too, and Alek Manoah. Encouraging outing before the break. We'll see if he can build on that. Any other players on your mind, or any thoughts before we move on?
780 players are on my mind. I'm looking forward to some ball tonight. We were talking 2-start pitchers. I think doing a little DFS work to get going. I think an interesting call for tonight is Carlos Rodon, the Yankees in Colorado. Colorado is, even at home, is just terrible against lefties. I'm not sure if it's a donkey move playing Rodon in DFS, but I may have to break my rule because factoring in Coors Field, the Rockies just can't hit lefties. So I think that's it. I think you start Rodon in traditional fantasy leagues if you have them.
Yeah, I could see that. Anytime you see at Colorado, you get scared. And the over/under is 11 runs tonight, I'll say. But Yankees are favored.
It's going to be 9-2. The Yankees are going against Gomber.
Yeah, that could very well be the case. So a battle of southpaws there in Colorado tonight. Let's talk a little bit about our sponsor, Rival Fantasy. Let me tell you first a little bit about their platform. Rival Fantasy is the fantasy platform reinventing the way daily and weekly games are played. And they've brought new games to the ballpark this year that fantasy players won't find anywhere else. Rival Fantasy's games include Fantasy Bingo, head-to-head player challenges, and Fantasy Book, where users can select over-unders for 2 to 5 players. With games like this, daily fantasy has never been better. Right now, RotoWire listeners can get a $50 protected first play. That means if you win your first play, you keep your winnings. But if you lose your entry, Rival will fully refund you up to $50. Go to play.rivalfantasy.com/signup and use code RotoWireMLB at signup and deposit a minimum of $25 to get your first entry on Rival protected up to $50. Now's the time to step up to the plate and become a Rival today. Welcome to the arena. Mentioned the weather concerns tonight. Keep a close eye on those. May affect our picks for Rival tonight. But Todd, who's caught your attention tonight on the Rival platform?
Yeah, the pitching. It was just, to me, it was a smaller number of pitches they'd normally have available. So nothing really stood out. Talk about the rain. Tyler Glasnow. I don't even think I have him over 21.4. I don't have him a ton over 21.4, but I do have him over against Kansas City. So that might be one of my picks. But one of the things about the rain is, if it's short, if he comes out after 3 innings, it counts, but he's not going to get the points because, you don't pitch. So I'm going to have to reconsider that one. DFS is different. Everybody backs off him in DFS. You get a rostership advantage here. You just don't make it. Louis Castillo. I actually considered Eduardo Rodriguez in this game too, but I just think Seattle would win, so I went with Castillo. 19 points. I'm looking at over 21 in my rankings, so I like Castillo to start the second half strong. And like I said, there weren't a lot of pitchers that caught my eye. Corbin Burns, I like, but it's that Cincinnati team. They're you don't want to mess with the Reds anymore, which is scary.
Yeah, you really don't.
And I'm not.
Sounds funny to say.
After last week, my friend, I'm not touching Aaron Savali.
I blew it last week too.
Oh, gosh.
I had the under on Glasnow going up against Atlanta, and he left that game with cramps. He didn't get the win, but he still pitched out of this world. So I blew that one. I'm tempted to go Glasnow, but again, that's the one game that our weather guy has as the top concern there in Kansas City. 66% chance of rain according to our weather, or according to our lineups page. 15 mile per hour winds. So that one worries me a little bit. I think I am going to go Luis Castillo on the over 1909. Just seems so nice when that over, and there's only 7 runs there in Seattle, and Seattle favored in that game at home. So, Luis Castillo seems like a really good bet tonight.
You know where I'm going? Now, this kind of incorporates that rain thing in. I think I'm going to go under on Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah.
I get to root for my Red Sox.
Yeah, that's
and what if there's a rain game and he comes out after 3? So I'm going to go, and it's 13. So it's one of those things where you got to get to him early because you can get 13 points going 4 or 5 innings and having an okay game, not a great game. So I may, it's the first game back. Let's have some fun. I may replace Glasnow with Kyle Hendricks and take the under.
I like that. I think, my heart saying Graham Ashcraft because the over-under is only 10.52, but my mind says, look, you like the guy, you're rooting for him, but there's not much there statistically to hang your hat on. So I'll steer away from Graham Ashcraft, and I think I'll go with weather concerns in Queens. I think given the weather and they're going against the Dodgers, I'm going to take the under on Verlander. It's only 15.56, but man, Verlander's been super disappointing. Well, not super disappointing.
Lately he's been turning it on.
He's been okay. Yeah, he's been better lately. Still, though, 2 Ks, 6 Ks, 5. Just the strikeout punch.
I got to, again, take my projections with a grain of salt, but I have him for 14.9, so it's under.
It is under. And there's the weather concern. So
Yeah,
a 62% chance of rain, windy. Dodgers favored on the road, over under 8 runs. So, you're right that he has been better lately, but the K is just still lagging way behind expectation. So he's been a little fortunate with the long ball lately too. So I'm thinking the Dodgers touch him up for a couple of homers. Maybe rain affects his workload tonight. Give me the under on Verlander to pair with the over on Luis Castillo.
All right.
Any other rival picks you like tonight?
I did a couple hitters. I'll take the over on George Springer. I didn't write down who they're going against. We can look it up real quick.
Yeah, let me take a peek.
As far as
the Blue Jays,
it was he didn't have the platoon edge. I remember liking the matchup.
Going up against Ryan Nelson.
Yeah, okay. So I don't. Yeah. So I'm not worried about the platoon edge there.
Yeah.
Here's what. All right, I'll save my interesting one for last. Jorge Soler, Dean Kramer. Kramer's given up almost 2 homers a game. So, and I know it's in Miami, but I'm taking Soler there. Kramer is just giving up homers, and I am going the under, and hopefully I don't get hit by lightning. I'm going the under on L.A. De La Cruz.
Ooh,
a pretty hefty 9.2, but he's going against Corbin Burns.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just, I think Burns gets fired up for the matchup, and so I'm going the under in Ellie Cruz.
Yeah, I wonder if Rivals expecting Ellie to steal first, second, third.
Yeah. Well, there is that.
Can't steal first, but
there is that.
That was amazing. Really, just unbelievable that he was able to steal second, third, and home all while the same batter was up. It was just wacky. I wonder if I was against the Brewers. Does William Contreras have some big issues keeping guys on base?
I don't think he's better than he has been, but yeah, they're a team that I'm not afraid to pick on.
As far as the run game goes,
was it right? Was it against Washington?
No, I think it was against the Brewers because they were playing right before the break.
Okay, and then it was a previous series that the Reds had Washington, and it was a foregone conclusion they just weren't going to stop running.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can't say I wish you luck with that bet because I'm not going to do well. But no, I like your picks. Good stuff on Rival. Come join us over there if you can. It's a good time, and we appreciate their sponsorship of the podcast. Let me take care of another little piece of business here. Then we will move on to 2-star pitchers for next week. Little read from our friends over at Home Run Index. We know the weather can impact how far a ball can fly, but we never know what all that heat and humidity or cold air is really doing to the ball. The Home Run Forecast Index gives us an easy way to determine how good or bad the air is for ball flight. The index is calculated by measuring stadium-specific weather conditions and is displayed on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being the most unfavorable for good ball flight and 10 indicating the most favorable air. There's a strong correlation between the index and the number of runs scored per game and the number of home runs hit. Games that have the highest index 10 for the whole game average over 10 runs and 2.8 homers over the course of the year. An index is created for each game so you can see what it will be in any stadium and how the weather's influence might change over the course of the game, as well as the wind direction. Right now, you can get access to the HRF premium site for only $5 a month and see what the index will look like for every hour of every game. Go to homerunforecast.com now to sign up. Sounds like a cool tool they have over there. Todd, no 2-star pitchers last week, but we are back doing our 0 to 5 thing here. Follow along with us if you want with our probable pitchers page. You can customize the grid to start on Monday, July 17th. So for the week of Monday, July 17th, starting off, we have Zach Davies. It's got to go to Atlanta, then at Cincinnati. I mean, that's probably a 0, right?
I'll see you probably and say definitely.
Yeah, those two road matchups, that's pretty rough. So Davies is 1-5 with a 6.37 ERA, so you'd have to really be talking crazy to throw him out there. Bryce Elder, all-star. Congrats to him. Big surger from the preseason. I don't think anybody expected this, but 7-2, 2.97 ERA. Did have his worst outing maybe of his entire career on the day before the All-Star break. But the overall body work, fantastic. He's home against Arizona, opposite Davies, by the way, on Tuesday. Then at Milwaukee. So Bryce Elder, not a 5, but I'm going to go 4 because I think he bounces back from that outing against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, he's pitched well, all-star. Even with the poor game, he's still out over his skis a bit. There's some regression coming. But I don't know. Yeah, there's enough good stuff there that I'll go with the 4 as well.
Okay. Next up, Tyler Wells. Pretty underrated pitcher. He's really helped fantasy managers who spent on him early. Got to face the Dodgers, though, and then Tampa Bay. So home against the Dodgers at Tampa Bay. Where do you land on Tyler Wells of Baltimore?
This may seem high, but I'm standing by it. I'm going 4.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go 3, but that's a strong endorsement of Mr. Wells there.
Yeah. I have him ranked 26th overall, and he's going deep into games, which helps. So I'm buying into it.
Now, Cole Irvin's last start before the break, he was at Minnesota. Goes 6 innings, only 1 earned run, and really a lot of ones on the box score, but only recently has he stretched out. So 1 earned run in each of his last 4 appearances, a total of 15 and a third innings, but 2.35 ERA over his last 4 appearances. Would you consider Cole Irvin, though, with this 2-step?
You could continue to talk, and it's not going to talk me any higher than a 0.
Yeah. I mean, he's been pitching okay, but realistically, I can't really see that. Nick Pivetta, he gets Oakland on the road, then he's home against the Mets. So going to the Coliseum definitely gives him a shred of appeal. I imagine I'll have him on some waterfalls this weekend. Nick Pivetta. I mean, it is Nick Pivetta after all, but at Oakland versus the Mets, I'm going to go with the 2, I think.
I'm going to go 2 as well, but if he's not going to go 5 innings, he's not a 2 even. So it's sort of a leap of faith that the Red Sox squeeze 5 out of him.
Good caveat to throw out there for sure. Now, somebody, I don't know who it was, but somebody threw out Jameson Taillon as a potential Reds target. Interdivision, maybe it doesn't work out, but
you know what? I mean,
buy
if
low
you
on Taillon.
are you not going to trade Jameson Taillon interdivision? I mean, if that, I mean, first of all, that's one of my pet peeves is if your team's better, you make the deal regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if the Reds are the only one willing to give up or giving up the biggest prospect haul, you deal within the division, right? I mean, I don't know. But he's the kind of guy, we were talking again on the radio with Eric Halterman. I don't see the Reds making a big splash, but I do think they would like somebody. I think their big splash is getting Green and Lodolo back. And then I wouldn't mind if there was someone in the middle, not this year's Gibson, though, Kyle Gibson, who, pitches well and then gets the regression after the trade. So I hope it's not someone like that, especially in that park. But I could see Taillon. But anyway.
Yeah, it's just a possibility, just a thought that somebody had that I was like, that's intriguing because it would be a decent buy low. Taillon gets the Nats at home. You got to love that. Then the disappointing Cardinals at home. So assuming he's still with the Cubs throughout the week, that will be his two-step versus Washington versus St. Louis. As poorly as he's pitched, I still think that's probably a 3.
I have him in the 2 range. I'm going to go 2. But I could see where I see the 3, but this time I actually do have him ranked. So I am going to go 2.
That's fair. What about Drew Smyly for the Cubs? Same two-step for him versus Washington versus St. Louis.
Man, I don't. I have him in the 0 range, but I do have a hard time giving him a 0. So I'm going to give him a 1.
Yeah, 1 sounds right for a guy like Smyly. Okay, to the Reds. Brandon Williamson. I actually started him in the stake league for this matchup. The first of these matchups is against San Francisco. So keep me in your thoughts and prayers. His two-step in normal leagues is versus San Francisco versus Arizona. The whip is better than the ERA, and I see flashes. So I'm going to give Williamson a 1. I understand if you'd go 0, though.
Well, I'm glad you understand because that's where I'm going.
And Luke Weaver, that's an easy 0.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm looking at Williamson, and I need some strikeouts. I don't know that I'm going to get the strikeouts.
Yeah.
I just, in order to, I mean, it's around 1 an inning. Maybe that's not fair, but I just don't like it.
Hey, to each their own. I mean, I wouldn't feel good about starting, but I am in 1 league, and I would consider him in maybe like the 15-teamer. Shane Bieber at Pitt versus Philly. So a little Pennsylvania two-step there. I don't think he's a 5 anymore, but maybe with this he is, but I'm gonna go 4.
Yeah, I have him a 4. I have him a 4.
I can't go higher. What about well, we can just say Peter Lambert 0.
Yeah, we can say that.
Yeah. No reason to elaborate further. Let me just it is Peter Lambert. Let me just to be sure that I had his first name right. Lucas Giolito, he could be a Red. Maybe him or Lance Lynn. I hate to make this too Red centric, but
they are
Reds are good again.
They're on the conscience, and I don't. Well, and I said this tomorrow, so whatever. I don't know. To me, the Reds.
They're America's team. Come on.
No. I don't think they want to. They're there, but to me, it's 1 year. You don't want to. You have one shot. If you're gonna trade a really good prospect, you got to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to ruin a 3, 4, 5 year window trying to do it 1 year too early.
Well, that's definitely a good point. I've done that in fantasy.
Oh yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
So it depends upon the haul it would take to get Giolito.
Mm-hmm.
If the White Sox were able to get like a bidding war, the Reds have the prospect, the assets. But is this the guy? Is this the one? Is this the move you want to make? I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't know. Especially when you have Lodolo and Green coming back. I guess that's counting a little too much on Lodolo.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with Lynn too if it'd be cheaper.
Yeah.
I mean,
Lynn in that park? Ooh. Well,
yeah, it could be ugly, but
yeah.
yeah, I mean, Giolito would be the preferred option, but the additional cost it would take to get him may deter the Reds. We'll see.
We talked about Eric. Marcus Stroman might be interesting for the Reds.
Yeah,
Keep the ball down. Keep the ball down in that place. Anyway.
Well, Giolito is at the Mets and at Minnesota. I think I'm going to go 4. I mean, how are you sitting the guy?
I got him 5, but
okay.
I think it has to do with I'm just a little higher on Giolito baseline and than some at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
that's reasonable. Okay, I mentioned Matt Manning among the CBS, pickups, the roster trends over there, and getting added a lot of places, and understandable given this upcoming 2-step at Kansas City, then versus San Diego. The second half, not quite as appealing, but the way he's pitching, man, you got to be pretty excited about Matt Manning.
Not if you like strikeouts.
That's true, but I mean, performance-wise, he's a bright spot for Detroit. Tarik Skubal maybe even more appealing, frankly.
Yeah.
But Matt Manning, I'm going to go with the KC. Start make some. I think that bumps him up to a 3 for me.
Pitchers like this that just don't get the strikeouts scare me. Strikeouts matter, and oh gosh, the most I can go is 1, and that's yeah.
Yeah, I like him against Kansas City, so I'd probably roll the dice. But I totally see where you're coming from. More conservative approach with a guy with low Ks seems like a safer route. Skubal's only gone 4 innings in his first 2 appearances. 57 pitches and 63 pitches. Seems like it'll probably be a gradual thing, but he's getting the Ks early on. So he's got 11 Ks in 8 innings, only 2 walks, 0 earned runs, only 2 hits. So you got to factor in that maybe he doesn't go 5. Maybe he's capped around 70 pitches, but I think Skubal's probably a 3 too for me.
I have him ranked to the 4, but I need to bring down the pitch, like you mentioned, the innings. I think he goes to 75 innings. That's 15 pitches an inning. I think he can go 5, but I think I am projected for a little more than 5. So if I bring him down to 5 and 5, I think he lands in the 3 range.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good to me. Let me just get a little timestamp rocking here on our outline for.
I am 5 against Kansas City.
I mean, it's not out of the question that he could go 5.
Yeah, no. I mean, even 14 pitches an inning is 5. 70 pitches can be projected as 5 innings pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
So
just beware that he's not fully turned loose yet.
Yeah, actually, I have him 5 in both cases, and I had him ranked as a 4. But I think that's because his recent numbers are really good, so they help my system. But he didn't go 5 innings in them, and it shouldn't count as much. So anyway,
I see. Well, here's an interesting one. Hunter Brown, he's got to go to Colorado, then he gets at Oakland, so kind of 2 different sides of the coin there. But you mentioned how bad Colorado is just generally. Brown, not a lefty, he is a righty, but I don't think this Colorado start's going to completely scare me off. I'm going to go, I think, with a 3 here as well.
Yep, that's where I am.
Yeah. He's kind of, he's been pretty good, but ERA is up over 4 now. All right, Kansas City, Daniel Lynch, Ryan Yarbrough. They get Detroit at home, then they go to the Yankees. I think I'm going to give both these guys a 0. Would you consider either one?
I'm not considering Yarbrough. I forget who the other name was.
Lynch.
Oh wait, Yarbrough I have ranked like a 1, but I don't trust Yarbrough. Lynch, no, not trusting Lynch. The reason I'm kind of being a little flighty because I'm trying to think and do this at the same time because you were talking about cores and I'm beginning to wonder. Runs are up, right? I don't know. I wonder if that lessens how scared we should be of Coors Field. Because I wonder if they go up proportionately in Coors Field. You know what I mean? If we're, so maybe we should be a little bit less concerned because pitchers are giving up more runs everywhere. I don't know if it's proportionate though. It's just something I have to sort of keep in my mind because looking at the Rockies' numbers is more tempting than ever to stream in Coors Field. And there are some guys this week. You mentioned Brown. We'll talk about Garrett Cole. There are some good pitchers going in Coors Field.
Yeah, that's true. Back to the 2-start list here, though. No 2-star pitchers for the Angels. You have an off day. It looks like Thursday. So that makes sense. Then for the Dodgers, Emmett Sheehan. He's 2-0, and he kind of had his first stumble before the break, but it's been pretty smooth sailing for 23-year-old Emmett Sheehan. He's at Baltimore, at Texas, so kind of a tough 2-step. And just a quick aside, the Rangers had 5 all-star starters in that lineup. Seager, Simeon, Adolis Garcia, Josh Young, and Jonah Heim. Yeah. So they've been a huge surprise this season. I don't hear anybody talking about them as an actual World Series threat, though. Do you think the general public, is kind of selling this team short, the Rangers?
Well, they have been fortunate on batting average with runners in scoring position, but they're still good. It's the pitching. Mm-hmm. And is the pitching going to hold up? Is the bullpen going to hold up? So I think that if they go out and get a Giolito, it's just amazing what they've been doing without DeGrom. Mm. Can Eovaldi stay healthy? Can Heaney stay healthy? The guys that are doing well have injury concerns, and Martin Perez is not doing well. So and they got some younger arms, but they're not ready.
Jack Leiter's kind of. I saw James Anderson got a note on him. He's really had some struggles, but
yeah,
not
huge. Remember when Texas had all the young pitching, and where is it?
So. Yeah, it's just kind of funny. I hear a lot of talk about Atlanta and Tampa Bay and Baltimore, and even the Reds.
Yeah, I think it's the pitching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like even though they had 5 all-star starters, nobody's really buying what the Rangers are selling. Emmett Sheehan at Baltimore, at Texas. I think I'm going to only go 3 here. Maybe that's high, but
I'm going 2.
Yeah.
We had someone asked me on one of the RotoWire columns, rest of season, you mentioned it before, Michael Lorenzen or Emmett Sheehan. I'm going Lorenzen. I'm still a tried and true kind of guy. But I can see if you need more than what you think Lorenzen can give you, you go for Sheehan. But I think Lorenzen is my pick.
Could depend on where Lorenzen ends up. You got to think he's a strong trade candidate.
True.
He doesn't make a lot of sense.
Go back to Cincinnati, right?
Oh boy, man, center field again. Brian Hoeing for the Miami Marlins at St. Louis versus Colorado.
You really have to think about it?
I probably don't. I mean, that's a 0. All right.
Yep.
Let's pause briefly to take care of our last piece of business here on today's show and throw to a quick word from our Blue Wire sponsors. All right, we are back on the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Clay Link of RotoWire.com here with FSWA Hall of Famer, the man, Lord Zola. And Todd, moving our way down the list of two-start pitchers for next week, the week of July 17th. No two-start pitchers for Milwaukee, but then for Minnesota, Sonny Gray and Bailey Ober. You were on Ober, and credit to you on that. And even still, given the great first half he's had, he may still be among the most underrated arms in the game right now. Sonny Gray, Bailey Ober, both with sub-3 ERAs at Seattle and versus the White Sox. I think I might give Sonny a 5 and Bailey a 4.
I'm at 5 for both, and I'm going to stick with it. The competition is just not that great. Although as I'm looking things now, I think this is the first time in a long time that I remember that my number one ranked pitcher for the week is only one start, and that's Kevin Gausman, and Sonny Gray is number 2. There's just not a lot of aces with 2 starts because a lot of them are going over the weekend, right? So there's just not a lot of aces with 2 starts.
Yeah, that's a good point, given how the schedule shakes out. Carlos Carrasco of the Mets, ERA over 5. He's versus the White Sox at Boston. Ooh, Cookie's, I like Cookie early on in the underdog drafts. Hasn't really worked out. Although at least he's healthy right now. So that's something that can't be said for most of my arms there. Still not good. I think I'll maybe go 2 on Cookie, just almost like a legacy 2.
I'm at a 0. I mean, I'm going to double check to see if I something egregiously wrong. But I mean, it's not even, I am like a 102. I think about it, but I am like in the 130s. Jeez, so okay. I'm out.
Yeah, again, it's probably just the name value, the legacy that's, kind of messing with my mind here on Carrasco. But
could be.
I could see a situation where I'd trot him out. Domingo Germán at the Angels versus Kansas City. We know he had that perfect game, but around that, it hasn't been pretty. Still give him he gets Kansas City. I think I'll go 3.
I got him at as a 4.
Okay. Wow.
It feels high, but that's where I have him, so I'll stick with it.
Got him as a 4. Okay. What about Luis Medina? I don't imagine he'd be anywhere.
Yeah, you know what that 4 may be coming from. The perfect game is still part of my recent numbers.
Sure.
And I think that's feeding into that ranking. Because I should explain. A lot of this work, Patrick Davitt at Baseball HQ, amongst others, whereas hitting streaks have shown to be kind of happenstance, pitching streaks are kind of real. That is, a pitcher pitching well has a better probability of keeping pitch. I'm not talking well today. Continuing to pitch well. So there is something to be said for a pitcher on a hot streak. So I do factor that in. And I think I suspect Germán's perfect game is still part of my numbers. And as we know, all right, it's wonderful, a perfect game, but there's still some Babbitt block, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, so that's why I have him before. I think your 3 is probably more realistic.
Well, Luis Medina, Ken Waldichuk.
Oh, that's a 0. I mean,
both zeros, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see that. What about Aaron Nola? Is he a 5 for you, or are you docking him? Because I know we like to typically keep that 5 as a special number.
No, he is a 5, but I mean, he should be far and away my number 1 pitcher this week.
Yeah,
I mean, I am still a believer, and I thought I saw some stuff. heading into the break that gives me some optimism. So maybe it's what's the bias? Confirmation bias or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I am 12 strikeouts against the Rays. 6 against Miami's not great, but the strikeouts are kind of there heading into the break.
I think you mentioned that Cleveland kind of turned it on offensively, but at Cleveland's always, just such a ripe spot. So I think, versus Milwaukee at Cleveland, I think Nola's a 5.
Yeah, now you don't pile up strikeouts against Cleveland, at least on paper, but you usually don't get your butt handed to you either.
Right. Mitch Keller versus those Guardians at home, and then he's at the Angels. You going 5 on Mitch Keller?
Probably. I think I might have him in the 4 range, but I do like. I think I do like him as a 5. I think if we get done in time, I want to try to do one more underdog second half draft because I want one more chance to draft Mitch Keller. I got him at 21, and if 1 to 20 is 5, then he's borderline.
Yeah, I'm keeping that 5 special. I'm not anointing him a 5.
I think he's kind of special.
He's a pretty special arm, but he's not at that level for me.
I will go 4 because I have him as a 4.4444. So need to round him up almost.
Well, if you drafted Joe Musgrove, it was a little disappointing and frustrating at first because he, was hurt. He dropped that weight on his toe. Then he had a setback, and it took a while for him to build up, but eventually finished the first half 8-2 with a 3.29 ERA. He does get at Toronto, then at Detroit. But man, with the way he's pitched since his return, and just these. You feel good about the innings per start. I think I'm going to go 5 on Musgrove.
I got him as a 5, and he was one of the guys I got in a couple of my underdogs.
Nice. Yeah, me too. Brian Woo's been kind of a darling in fantasy lately. He's versus Minnesota, then versus Toronto, and same for Bryce Miller, who will be returning from the IL. Due back after the break, so they're going to slot him in at the backside of that rotation. We'll see what the innings look like for him, but Brian Woo is really pretty interesting. Versus Minnesota, versus Toronto. I think I'm going to go 3 on Woo, but it's borderline 4.
I'm still in a 2. I like what I see, but if this were like early in the year, we'd be saying we haven't seen enough innings yet. I'm going to go 2.
All right. Well, what about Bryce Miller? Let's see. Yeah, man. Okay. Did he have any? I don't see any sort of rehab outings.
See, I have him at a 4, but I think we're thinking along the same lines. I don't know that we can give him a 4 or wherever you're thinking with the innings that he's going to pitch.
Yeah, his final 2 outings before going on the IL with that finger issue, 4 1/3, 3 1/3. Not seeing any minor league appearances in the game log, so man, that's kind of a tough projection in his first start back. I think I'm going to give him a 3 too.
Yeah, ask yourself: would if you had to choose Woo or Miller, who would you choose?
Yeah, I would choose Woo because he's a little healthier.
Now that I've asked myself that question, I think I'm with you, and then they're both 3s.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I think it sounds right to me, so I'm glad to hear it sounds right to you.
Yeah.
Logan Webb, Anthony DeSclafani for the San Francisco Giants. They got to travel to Cincinnati, so that'll be a revenge game for Disco at Cincinnati. Then they're at Washington, so a little reprieve after the tough outing in Cincinnati. But Webb, I think, is a 5.
Yep.
Where do you land on DeSclafani though?
It's where am I going to go? I'm probably going to go. I think that comes out to a 2. I'm going to go 2.
2.
And that it feels generous, but I'm going to say 2.
Yeah,
It's the Parks. I don't love the Parks.
Yeah. We'll see if he shows up in Cincinnati, though. Jordan Montgomery, now he's almost certainly going to be traded, but assuming he's with the Cardinals through next week, it'll be versus Miami, then at the Cubs. And same for Dakota Hudson, who was brought back up and seems well, we'll see. I thought he'd probably be in relief initially, but maybe he gets these starts.
Well, Liberatore has not earned them.
Yeah, Liberatore has been brutal. And Montgomery versus Miami at the Cubs. I think Montgomery's probably a 3.
Yeah, I agree.
And then, geez,
I'm at 0.
Hudson's a 0. Yeah,
I'm at 0.
Can't trust him. Never struck guys out anyway. Okay, Taj Bradley at Texas versus Baltimore. Not a 5, and with those matchups, probably not even a 4. But I do like what I've seen from Bradley. Bordering on a 4 for me, but I think I'm going to go 3.
Man, I have him outside. The top 100. I need to double check that. I'm gonna say 2, pretending I don't see my ranks, and I'm gonna check that one before posting them tomorrow morning.
And we have Yanni Chirinos penciled in. He's kind of been essentially the 5th starter, though, working as a long man, the bulk guy after an opener. So don't expect him to start these games, but he'll probably be the primary guy on these 2 occasions at Texas versus Baltimore. I think I'll go with a 1.
See, I have him well outside the top as well. I'm wondering if there's some kind of spreadsheet glitch with the Rays that I need to check. But I'm going to go a 1, and again, double check where I am with him coming in.
Just let me do something real quick here. All right. Moving on to the final few names here on the list. Then we will recap after we're all done. Dane Dunning has got to face Tampa Bay and the Dodgers. He's been great, but this could be a dose of reality here. I think I'm going to go 4.
His numbers, his outcomes have been great.
Yeah.
Skills, peripherals, pedestrian. 59 Ks in 92 innings.
That's it, huh? Wow.
24 walks. It's 6 homers in 92 innings. So, it's just a matter of how much we trust that he's doing something about the homers or if he's just dumb luck. And 3 of those came in one game. So
you talked me down to a 3, by the way.
I'm at 2. So at least we came down a bit.
Yeah. You're right that you got to dig. I mean, it's if you play fantasy baseball, it's kind of obvious, but
you can't
got to dig deeper than just the surface.
Right, and you can't get married to StatCast either.
Yeah, of course.
It's so
far more descriptive than predictive, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Finally, Chris Bassett and Mackenzie Gore. So Chris Bassett is versus San Diego at Seattle. Well,
I am only for 1.
4.
So okay, I must have been changed since I did my numbers. I'm going to go 4 as well, mainly because I have him on a couple of my second half underdog teams, so I got to root for him. Yay! So go Bassett.
And then Mackenzie Gore at the Cubs versus San Francisco. I think I'm going to go 3.
I'm going to go 1. He could put up 2 great outings, or I don't know. I'm going to go 1.
So would you'd start like a long relief guy over a guy like that? Probably.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah. I mean,
not locking you into anything. But yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, probably at this point, I'm looking at the recent numbers. He hasn't, I know he had one. I think that was a relief outing. He's been pretty terrible lately. But previous to that, he was on a little bit of a run, Mackenzie Gore. So, I don't know. I'm going to stick with the one. I'll stick with the one. He's had 18 starts. And all right. So one of them was 2 2/3, and it was 7 runs, so he got crushed. And the other one was that rain game, right, against the Reds, 1 1/3.
Mm-hmm.
That was a rain game. So maybe I'm putting too much. I need to check my innings projected because part of it is what he's done previously. If you got 2 games where you're averaging less than 2 innings, I may need to up his innings projection in my hand.
All right. Well, good stuff today, Todd. Let's recap our 2-star pitcher grades. I will get the timestamp in here. All right. 2-star pitchers for the week of July 17th. Still a long way to go, people. Let's keep grinding and see where we end up when it's all said and done. All right. Zach Davies, 0. Bryce Elder, 4. Tyler Wells, I say 3. Todd, 4. Cole Irvin, 0. Nick Pivetta, 2. Jameson Taillon, I say 3. Todd, 2. Drew Smiley, 1. Brandon Williamson, I say 1. Todd, 0. Luke Weaver, 0. Shane Bieber, 4. Peter Lambert, 0. Lucas Giolito, I say 4. Todd, 5. Matt Manning, I say 3. Todd, 1. Tarik Skubal, 3. Hunter Brown, 3. Daniel Lynch, 0. Ryan Yarbrough, 0. Emmett Sheehan, I say 3. Todd, 2. Brian Hoeing, 0. Sonny Gray, 5. Bailey Ober, I say 4. Todd, 5. Carlos Carrasco, I say 2. Todd, 0. Domingo Herman, I say 3. Todd, 4. Luis Medina, 0. Ken Waldachuk, 0. Aaron Nola, 5. Mitch Keller, 4. Joe Musgrove, 5. Brian Wu, I say 3. Todd, 2. Bryce Miller, 3. Logan Webb, 5. Anthony DeSclafani, 2. Jordan Montgomery, 3. Dakota Hudson, 0. Taj Bradley, I say 3. Todd, 2. Yanni Chirinos, 1. Dane Dunning, I say 3. Todd, 2. Chris Bassett, 4. And finally, Mackenzie Gore, I say 3. Todd, 1. So great stuff, Todd. Glad to hear your break went well and fun and safe. Anything else on your mind today?
Yeah, just looking forward to some ball being played again and a strong second half. Let's finish it out, and we'll be here, every Friday.
Every Friday. And we know that the All-Star break doesn't come at the exact halfway point. What would you say we got, about 40% of the season left?
Yeah,
about 40%. So, if you're not in the money now, that doesn't mean you can't get up there. So let's keep putting in the work. And I hope you'll join us next week on the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast.